We are about mid-October 2023, and in this video I'm going to share with you one of my newfound favorite nurseries online, Lara Farms, who's out in Miami, Florida. Fantastic place to get grafted trees as well as sample fruit. If you've never tried some of these exotic fruits and you want to give them a try, which I would definitely recommend before buying a tree, he does sell those seasonally, so check out his website. I'm going to link it in the description as well. But we're going to do an unboxing of a Loquat tree. And if you are interested in growing Loquats, this is about prime time to be putting one in the ground. So Loquats are one tree you do not want to put in the ground in springtime, because Loquats really struggle in our summers, especially when they're young. By planting them now in fall, the weather is cool enough, they enjoy the cooler weather here. They'll actually put on growth during this time. We'll be able to put some roots in the ground, so by next summer, they'll be an established tree, rooted out. So this particular plant is a starter plant. It's only 1 gallon. It is grafted. As you can see, there's the graft union right there. While I've had some issues with online nurseries, I've never had one with Lara Farms. They always package their plants very, very well. You can see they stake it. And they also secure some cardboard to the top, as well as a lot of plastic tape to ensure that the soil will not fall out during shipment. He ships his plants between 2 and 3 days, so they're always very nice and moist on arrival, and they don't go through any stress. You likely are able to find Loquats right now at local nurseries. And if I were getting one of the more common varieties like Big Jim or Champagne, I could go that route, but I wanted a very particular variety. This one caught my eye. This variety is called Loquat. So the name Loquat actually comes from the interesting flavor and texture of this fruit. When it was first tried in Florida, honey actually oozed out of it, which is not a normal thing for a Loquat. So it has a viscosity to the fruit from that honey, plus the Loquat taste. So that really appealed to me. I wanted something a little different and unique. Alright, so we'll just actually take this out of its wrapping. So what I really love about this seller is he knows his stuff when it comes to soil media. He's not cutting corners like so many nurseries out there. I like Style Lab in California. I've bought a lot of stuff from them, but they, like many other nurseries, go and put chunks of bark into the media, which is very bad for the long-term health of the plant, because that's going to break down. It's going to rob nitrogen and nutrients from the plant. It's going to eventually cause rot. So Julian knows his stuff. He does things right. He uses a proper media on all his plants, so I don't have to change out the media. And he's going to be using peat moss, sand, perlite, all the stuff that I would use if I were potting up a plant or amending soil in ground. Alright, so I've got my hole prepped. I actually ended up digging out a Loquat that I planted last year. It was just a mistake on my part. I didn't research that plant well enough. I was desperate to get a Loquat and pretty much just bought what they had, which was this Premier variety. I thought was a good option. It was a dwarf tree, so it wasn't growing all that vigorously for me, but the biggest downside was the fruit. I didn't realize that being a dwarf tree also meant it had dwarf fruit on it. So I would stay away from the Premier variety. The fruit on it was very meager, and you were basically getting just a thin layer of skin around a large seed. Not really what I want for fruit production. So decided to pull that one out. I also wasn't terribly happy with the condition of the plant when it came. It was a little bit root bound. So I actually prefer to get younger plants, just because I think they do better on adjusting to soil if they're not old and, you know, have been in container culture for a long time. This was the hole where the Premier was at, and I'm going to be putting this new Loquat in. My method for in-ground plantings, at least as of now, and this was shown in my recent video on planting an orange tree, a Caracara, is I'll take about 1/3 of the native clay soil out. of the planting hole, and I'll replace that with equal proportion of all-purpose coarse sand and also perlite or pumice, whichever is available. I prefer pumice, but it can sometimes be hard to come by. Summerwinds Nursery does at times offer the 2-quart bags. And that's really all I'll do. And those ingredients just help with drainage. What I will not put in the hole is any kind of organic material that's going to break down again and cause issues for the plant, rob nutrients as those break down. So that would include wood chips. I do not put any kind of manure in there. All those materials should be on the top of your soil so that they can be broken down by the bacteria and the bugs and then feed your tree. You do not need to surround your roots with that, nor is that a good thing. And those materials also cause heat as they break down. Just think of a pile of wood chips laying in your driveway. Those things can actually catch on fire. They get so hot. So you don't want to put anything that's hot and, in a state where it's going to actually break down into your planting hole. All right, I've got this honeyquat in the ground where that Premier Loquat used to be. I want to just point out a few things. I've got this slightly on a mound, really about anywhere between 3 and 6 inches. I like to put it above grade. That's just going to help again with the drainage and the fact that I still do have clay soil overall in my yard. So this root ball is a little bit higher. And then the other thing I want to point out is in the container, the root ball was actually covered in a lot of soil. So we just want to clear all that soil away and plant it where we can start to see the roots coming out. So you can see there's the first root here from the surface. That should be exposed and not buried in soil. So you just want to expose that when you put this in the ground so that oxygen exchange can happen for the plant. It's how the plant breathes. If it's covered in soil, it's going to suffocate. Had this garden going for 7 years, so there's definitely soil life already in here. If you had, brand new soil that you were dealing with, a new lot that has no soil life in it, then you'd probably want to put some mycorrhiza, into the soil that you're planting the tree in to help inoculate that. I don't need to do that because I've got trees all the way around this guy. So that web is already established and will help support this tree. It's really the only thing I want to do because it's young and there isn't a whole lot to the root ball is I'm going to make sure that I irrigate just this immediate root ball. That 1 gallon area that the plant came in, that needs to stay moist. We're still, near 100 degrees, so the plant can dry out. So I'm definitely going to be watering this daily. And then after a few weeks, especially with the weather cooling down, I'm not going to need to water as often. So really you just want to check your soil, push your finger into the soil, check the moisture level, make sure it's not wet and not dry. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching and happy gardening.